Hey everyone, and welcome back to our first League Manager's Note of Dynasty. I'm Mr. Modest, aka Kamish, aka the champ. Here's the trophy. It's shiny, it's beautiful, it's here. It's always next to me. I'm joined today by Joel Gibson. He's currently on the road, but we're going to shoot this anyway. You won't be able to see that face of his, but you will be able to hear him. Joel Gibson, how are we doing today?
I'm doing fucking awesome, dude. The league is back. I've missed it so fucking much. Good God. It's good to be back in the swing of things.
Me too. And I just want to thank everybody real quick that showed up to the draft. It was great. A little sticky there at the beginning and throughout the draft as far as the cap goes. But I think we're getting some of the issues worked out. Kudos to everybody who is trying to get under the cap. There's been a lot of good moves towards the cap. I appreciate it. Respect for the rules. I understand that, drafting kind of went south in the cap, but this was an experiment, and it's a trial and error. This year, I'm trying to instill rules as we go along to make it fair for those that drafted under the cap, and also to make it easier for people to get below the cap, because that's ultimately what we want, especially for the longevity of the league. If anybody has any questions or anything, I posted an updated rule book today. I did instill the new rule about ad drops. That rule, as long as you drop somebody before midnight, you are permitted to add them the next morning. You just got to give people enough time to be able to wake up and see that you dropped somebody.
So it is not 24 hours, it's midnight now.
It's midnight, correct. It was originally 24 hours just so people weren't dropping high-value players. But as long as you do it before midnight, everybody, I encourage you, check the wire in the morning. I know I will be personally, just in case anybody tries to do anything. It's certainly risky business if they try to do that. But like I said, neither here nor there. Adam was penalized today because he did it 3 minutes before the wire, and that's just not fair. But like I said, the teams that did it the day before and then re-added, I think Matt did it once, and I'm not sure if anybody else did. But I am checking. I'm also working out all the little bugs about adding and dropping the Fan Tracks. Is a little bit wonky in how it grades everything and what it rules as free agents versus waivers and things like that. So I hope everybody sees that it's working. We talked through a little bit of how to set your lineups today, how to put it on auto so you don't have to save every single time you make a roster lineup to make it a little bit more like ESPN. You can find that in the Messenger if that's something that interests you. Outside of that, I love the FanTrax site only because it tracks everything. It shows everything. It's been a lot of help from my perspective. And just one thing I wanted to restate is every day you can have 12 active players, 5 bench players, and your rookie reserve spot. Okay, so that's 18 players total. But if you don't have a rookie, you can only carry 17 players. Now, some teams don't even have 17, and that's perfectly fine. That, again, is get under the cap, try to save that money, and then add throughout. I get that perspective as well. Outside of that, I don't think there's too many issues other than those that are drastically over the cap, like Joel Gibson. I think that's going to cause enough problems for him down the line that I'm not overly worried about it. And I also thought it was really funny because projections have Joel finishing second in his division and has Doug finishing last with no wins, which kind of made me laugh because those are the two that are highest above the cap. That kind of, it was interesting to me. There's a lot of different advantages to being below the cap, especially over the next 2 weeks. Now, Halloween is Monday. That is the day that I am instilling the luxury tax. Halloween. I am waking up Halloween and I am instilling the luxury tax when I get to work. I normally get to work around 8 or 9. So keep that in mind. Free agent dollars are coming off of everybody's budget Halloween morning. It's like a spooky little punishment, trick or treat, right? So outside of that, I don't think there's been too many problems. Welcome, Phil. Phil's been very active so far already. We love that. It's nice to have everybody active and just moving towards bigger things. I think that as we go along, teams have taken the long approach. Teams have taken the short approaches. It's really cool to see the dynamics that this league has already brought out. And like I said, I just want to thank everybody again for the patience. It's definitely just been an experiment and something that, I've worked really hard on. And if there's a way that I can do this fairly for people, I always want to do that. No decisions that I have made have affected me to this point anyway. I drafted over the cap as well, so I was in a good position to be able to say, I'll do what's best for everybody because I know I'll still be under the cap by the deadline. I don't know about everybody else, but I'm still going to get there, and I hope everybody at least tries to get there. If you choose to take the luxury, feel free, but I can assure you that you're going to run into some issues. Outside of that, anything from the draft, we are going to take the time this Sunday to go back through the draft and kind of note some things, players that we think were drafted well, not drafted well. We just want a little bit more time to be able to go through that, and I know Joel doesn't have a ton of time tonight, but I did want to get at least the week 1 preview. The first game has already started. It's in the third quarter right now. So shout out to everybody. With that being said, Joel, anything that I missed or anything that you think needs to be said?
No, I think you covered it well, dog. I'm excited to get rolling. Let's hear what these matchups are.
Excellent. So for the matchups, we'll start with the champs matchup as everybody is tied. The reigning champs matchup, and that is Steven at Modest. Now, Steven did a great job at drafting under the cap. He's done some good ads. He has a few rookies as well. I don't hate his roster, that's for sure. I am taking myself at home. Obviously, I think that my roster is just a little bit deeper right now than Steven's. But like I said, Steven is always one that is there at the end, and I have no doubt that he's going to find a way to be competitive this season, and definitely for future seasons to come. I like a lot of his young players. And
yeah, I'll be honest. I'm going to pick you. There are some guys that Steven drafted that I really don't know very much about. So I'm going to pick your team. If for no other reason, I know pretty much every player on that.
Excellent. Next matchup, we have Doug at Matt. Matt's team's looking pretty solid. Doug drafted over the cap significantly. Like I said earlier, I think he has the second highest cap at the moment. Doug has Robert Williams that is out on the IR. He was forced to drop a player today. I imagine that we'll probably see him on the wire because he added Williams to his IR, so he does have some open spots. And, we're going to see how it goes. Doug is another one of those wild cards that always seems to figure it out. So, shout out to Doug, and I can't wait to see what you do with this season. Matt's team looks solid. I'll be honest. Not only did Fantrax have him projected as number 1 out of his division, but his team is built well. Just looking at his squad, I was looking at everybody's team today, I'm sure, as a lot of us were. His team is built well, and it's built in a way that it's not necessarily balanced, but it will beat you if you don't pay attention to what his strengths are, or if your team doesn't really match up well against it. I'm going to take Matt at home against Doug without Rob Williams, and depending on what he does on the wire, I think Matt's in a good position, and he's home. So I'm going to stick with Matt this first week at least.
It's tough because I can't look at the rosters since I'm in the car. I'm going to go off of gut feel, and I'm going to go with Doug. Just a lack of trust with Matt.
Totally understand, but you forget that we're back on Matt's home platform. He's
I know, but we have to believe that was luck. We have to believe it.
Yeah, we have to. If Matt does win this year, I'm convinced that it's just he can only win on fan tracks, and so we might have to change
We need to leave fan tracks.
I know, we might have to change platforms next year if Matt wins again, that's for sure. Next matchup is CJ at Kyle. Boy, there are some question marks on Kyle's team. We don't know what Simmons is going to be. If it's old Simmons, if it's early Philly Simmons where he's might not be scoring necessarily a ton, but still getting all of those extra
counting stats.
Exactly. He could be a very good player. Now, CJ, he has Curry on his team. I don't hate CJ's team either. This one's actually kind of tough for me to pick just because I don't know how CJ's bottom is going to do. And I think that's going to be a lot for a while. Teams that have solid tops, like solid 4-5, and I think if you look across the league, every team has a good solid 4-5. But it's about building that base and what you have after that and your ability to cycle through those spots and get production out of those later round names that's really going to set you apart from year to year. Like I said, that being said, man, CJ has KD too, and Kawhi. So, and then you look at Kyle, he has Harden. He has, like I said, Simmons earlier. He has Towns. He has Ayton. Westbrook.
Still be playing.
Yeah, Westbrook, we just don't know. Michael Porter Jr., we just don't know. I am going to hesitantly take Kyle for depth. And that's about all I can say. I know there's some good names on the wire that I expect CJ to make a move at. And maybe even Kyle as well. He's not far above the cap, even to get into that $10 range instead of the 22 he's at. I'm going to take Kyle because he's home and depth.
I'm going to take Kyle as well because his injury concerns or just player concerns in general, I think it's a little early for them to blow up on him.
Yeah. Okay. And now, of course, I closed out of there, so give me 1 second to get to all the matchups. Next one is Phil at Neiman. Now, Phil, I want to say I respect the most thus far of moves. He was over the cap, and he just said, fuck it. He cleaned house until he was under the cap. I imagine that he's going to look to be building for the future. Maybe make some trades, get some ads off the wire, things like that. But right now he's like 5 people down on a full roster. And so for that reason, I'm going to pick Neiman just based on the fact that he's going to be able to cycle Phil out, regardless of what the team looks like. And Neiman has a really decent team as well. Like I said, the redrafting and everything, I think really equaled out the league, at least for the top half of teams, and then it's going to get competitive in that middle range.
Yeah, I also am going to pick against Phil. It's tough when you don't have the same amount of guys on your team.
Yeah, and I mean, that's something that if you're playing men down to stay under the cap, it makes it tough. I know Matt is as well. But like I said, it's one of those things that you can make up games played, but the wire this year is going to be much thinner than in years past. I mean, we picked 3 additional players this year, I believe. 3? Yeah, I think 3 additional players. So that's 3 rounds of the wire that are already on teams. So cycling's going to be a little bit more difficult. It might be a little bit more hit and miss. That being said, Joel, why did you... Hold on, this thing just moved for no reason. I'm sorry, everyone. Anyway, Joel, you said you were taking Neiman. Next is your matchup, and you are playing Giddy Up. Cody. He changed his name again. The way these are like named, I just got to get used to the name. So Cody at home. I'm going to take Joel away. Cody drafted for the future for sure. He has a lot of good young guys. He also has some cheap, thin players at the bottom. And right now, Joel has a solid top, middle, bottom still yet to be figured out, I think. I'm not sure. I mean, either way. You're not going to see too much ad dropping from Joel, so I think cycling against Joel this year would be very interesting. That's free advice for everyone.
Yeah, I am also going to pick myself. I would say I'm 9 top heavy, so that's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's also, you're over 50% of the cap, and, some people may call that cheating. Not me. I just mean some people may look at it that way.
I'm like a kid in the weed shop. There's no self-control.
Next and final matchup here, we've got Eric at Adam. Both these teams, very, I don't want to say middle of the road and make it sound negative, but that's kind of where I place both of these in that 5 to 8 range. Both of them have solid rosters. Adam's having a little problem, following the rules thus far, but we got it corrected. He is playing a couple men down, but there's not a lot of games tonight. So he does have the opportunity to catch back up for tomorrow. I think I'm going to take Eric on the road just because I don't know what Adam's full team looks like. Once he makes his ads and everything, he has Fox, he has Greek, he has Bam, Nurkic if he can stay healthy. It's not that he has a bad team at all. Like I said, it's just I am not sure what his full team's going to look like, and I bet we'll have a little bit better, what do I want to say, look at his team. Now, Eric has LeBron, Anthony Edwards, who I love, KJ, Collins, Anunoby. He's very well spread. He's very even, if you will. So he's going to put up decent numbers, and I think he could beat any team any week, but I also think he could lose to any team any week, depending on how things go. And we also don't know about LeBron, if he's going to sit games, blah, blah, blah. Drew Holiday, stay healthy. But I'm going to take Eric on the road here.
I, too, am going to take Eric.
Okay, and those are the 6 matchups. Week 1, it's always a little weird, start on a Tuesday, 4 games. Tomorrow, everybody's going to have roster choices to make and who they're going to play and who they're not going to play because all the other teams, I think, play tomorrow. So it'll be interesting to see, and if at the end of the week there's close matchups, I'll do my best, but I'm going to try to go back and look and see these decisions that people are making. I'm going to try to make that a little bit part of the review. So choose your decisions wisely unless you want to be called out by the commish on air.
Sounds good to me. Good luck this week, fellas.
Good luck to everyone. Like I said, we'll be Sunday. We're going to do obviously week 2 previews, and we'll do a little bit of the draft and everything like that. Outside of that, I think that's it. Let's enjoy basketball again, and thank you to everyone one more time for doing this. It's a little complicated, but I think once everybody gets the hang of it, once all the kinks are worked out, it's going to go a lot smoother, especially moving forward. Things aren't going to change very much as we move forward as far as rosters and things like that go. Outside of that, any questions, as always, reach out. Joel, anything else?
Nope, it's taquito night at my house, and I've been in my garage for the last 10 minutes, so I am going to scoot.
All right, you go eat, and good luck to everybody, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.